Welcome to Great Talk and Entertainment. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the podcast where I review movies and TV shows from all your favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and much more. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talk and Entertainment official channel. Now let's go, baby. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. My name is KJ, and I am the host. This is my spoiler review for episode 6 of the new Disney Plus series by Star Wars, Skeleton Crew. Episode 6 spoiler review. Again, this is a spoiler review, so if you have not seen this, please pause this. But before you go and watch this amazing series, please hit the thumbs button on there on my YouTube channel. Something that small will help my YouTube channel in so many ways expand, get new viewers, new subscribers. That's all I ask you. Is just hit the thumbs up button on that. And thank you for the love and support. So I truly appreciate that if you do that for me. So thank you so much. But again, this is a spoiler review. Go watch this, then come back. So, y'all been warned. Now, let's get into it. Episode 6 continues on from what episode 5 was last left off with everybody in this show. The kids are going down that long pipe like a long slide where KB is hurt really bad because of the drop. And this was a trap by the former pirate that ran this ship of the captain. And, you know, it was dangerous. And now they're all alone. And we see that KB's program has to be restarted. And we see John Norwood was leaving until he got captured by Captain Brutus and the gang, and a group of X-Wing force are shooting at the pirate ship as well. And so we see basically what's really interesting is this is like Goonies meets Star Wars, or this is Star Wars version of the Goonies in a way. And this particular episode really shows it because you get a lot of information with the adults, you know, from John Norwood and what he's going to do. Like, he convinces everybody in that Captain Brutus and his whole crew that they know where all the treasure's at, and which that means they're going at him. And in this episode, we learn that they give him a chance, but Captain Brutus is like, look, if you lied to me, you screwed me over. He's getting like thrown out the spaceship, just kind of like Guardian of the Galaxy. I want to say 2, 1 or 2. No, it had to be 1. Guardian of the Galaxy 1. No, I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm right. Guardian of the Galaxy Volume 1. It kind of reminded me that when you see people get put out in outer space, they freeze to death and die. And that was kind of like the punishment if John Norwood can't deliver what he's promised. And, you know, what an interesting person / Jedi in a way. It's, you know, obviously he's no Anakin. He's no Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's definitely no Ahsoka as far as like personality traits and beliefs and how they want to view things or handle a situation like this. Like, obviously Obi-Wan Kenobi wouldn't portray all those kids like that. He'd be more heroic. This guy seems kind of like, you know, it's do or die. It's me against everybody. One for all. You know, he's going to look out for himself type of personality. And we see that. But he's very, very good at convincing people who want to literally assassinate him and put big bounties of credits like on him. So he's pretty good at escaping death or delaying the inevitable, right? Like, he's really good at that. And that's what I like about this. But in this like episode, they only give you so much with those adults because they really focus on the kids, because as those kids survived that fall from the trap door and made it out, Now we are seeing a more softer side of KB. And what I mean by that is obviously she's like a droid. So I don't know if she's like considered half human, half robot, or AI robot, whatever they call it. But I think what I believe is this is the first time we see her show an emotion like this, where her and Firm have this issue now. Like, I never seen KB doubt Firm like this or not back her up. But after this incident and this situation, it really changed her. And it was really interesting from episode 1 to this episode, episode 6. Each individually had their breakdown moment, where there was like reality really hurt them. For Wim, it was like episode 1. His reality hit him hard when he realizes that everybody thinks he's immature. He needs to grow up, right? They think his dreams are silly. Neil was later on where he discovered like maybe a possibility of their original At-Aten planet, where it looked like Mad Max. And, as Deadpool would say, how did they get that IP? But you see Neil in that, when he goes there, he sees realize man, like these people are living rough. Like, it's not no happy homes, like no moms and dads. He also was had a crush on one of the girls from that planet, and that really opened his eyes to basically maybe what he thought is reality is not reality to him. Maybe he's not living a fulfilled life. And obviously they're young, so they're just kids. Like, they got plenty of time to grow and explore life. But from this a huge experience where they can all get trauma pretty much, right? And it's like, wow, like they're really showing this story is so amazing to me. That's what I like about this story is I like watching people grow up, people mature, realize they're wronging, realize they need to change for the better, and in Star Wars terms, so they can survive everything, because they're realizing now things are not as what they seem to be. And it's one of those stories, and I like those type of stories. And the best stories is when you tell it from a view of a child, and we're getting that again. And so now we're seeing this a softer side of KB and Fern. KB's really upset, Fern, what are you doing? Why would you do that? This is kind of her blaming it. And in a way, she kind of lost trust with her, because we see Fern thinks that they should climb the mountain and get back to the spaceship, while Wim is no, we need to find some help and get out of here, because he's scared. He's a scared little boy, because they're just children, but he's scared. He wants to find help. He just wants to get home. And so he'll follow these robotic little crabs or whatever. And obviously KB can speak droid. I mean, but also humans can too with that. It's been proven in Star Wars from the first Star Wars movie. So with this episode, this shows with the kids' side of them having a bonding moment. We see Firm and Neil bond in their own way, where it's more Neil is kind of just trying to he's just listening. He's just being there for Fern. He doesn't have the words of the wisdom or the thing that KB done for Wim, where we see KB and Wim, they kind of have this moment where KB again needs to be restarted, but she needs to you see Wim cleaning some parts, some microchips. You see her replacing a battery. And what was interesting is this whole time, if Wim didn't do it right, she would have lost her whole life. But what was interesting before all that happened is Wim is being so heroic. He's done this with Firm, he's done this with Neil, as now he's done this with KB, where we're seeing like a potential hero in the future of Star Wars, and that's Wim. And he says the most good guy hero thing to say is, it's okay, it's not your fault type situation. He explains, like, don't be mad at Firm, like you and her are good friends like Wim and Neil are, and pointing that out. And instead of looking out for himself or not really caring, he actually does, and he wasn't being selfish about it. So he did that, but he also got to experience saving someone's life from death, literally. And when he found out, he was really shocked. But that's the most Jedi, well, the second most Jedi thing he's did. Episode 5, when he activated that lightsaber, that was pretty Jedi-like. This is really Jedi, because a Jedi would do that, a good Jedi. He's one with the Force, and he doesn't realize it. So it's really fun watching that. The last time we saw a child become a Jedi was literally Anakin Skywalker. I mean, yes, you could say Ahsoka if you include the Star Wars clone series. Yes, that's true. And Star Wars Rebels, that as well. But Wim is probably just a little bit older, around that same age as Anakin in Star Wars Episode 1 and the prequels to me. But this is the closest thing. But if it is, I hope they don't turn him Sith. And maybe he does. I haven't really looked into it. But I think, to me, he's going to be the true Jedi, like a true inspired person to be a Jedi, and is always going to do the right thing. He's going to be, like, in wrestling terms, he's going to be the John Cena of Star Wars. Like, he's going to be the guy. But I really like that, because he really, even though the group split up, like I said, they really did show that they cared for each other. And to do all that was really nice. And then, of course, Wim and KB come across this giant crab. And at the same time, Fern and Neil are trying to get this ship to run, the spaceship to get to going. And, it was pretty rough, but she finally got it and saved Wim and KB from the giant crab, and which was really awesome. And then at the end, you see them all kind of bond and kind of apologize, like they all actually cared about each other, miss each other. And Neil's just so relieved to see everybody not split up, because to me, Neil in this group is the one that buffers out people. Even KB has just shown, like, she's not really agreeing with Firm a lot of times, because she always feels like that she don't want to disappoint Fern. And Firm never saw that through KB's eyes like that, or viewpoint of it. So it was very interesting, but it was really good episode. I loved it because it felt like a Goonies like movie. And even though the kids were split up, but you seen like these kids just growing up. You see them, like, the harsh reality getting to them, but they're so smart and brave that they find a way to save each other, and they got back on the ship and left this particular planet. And what a great episode. Now, what I liked about this too, besides like that Goonie feel and the obvious, like I said earlier, is just watching these kids grow and mature from each episode of, whatever challenges it is. But what I liked about this episode, besides those, I also liked the idea this was focusing more on the kids and like teasing like the idea of what path they may lead up to in their adult life. But I also love this pirate theme story as well. I'm really curious what John Nodwood's gonna do. Like, how is he just playing everybody's strings? Like, does he have a plan that these kids didn't realize and we don't realize yet? And how's he gonna get out of Captain Brutus is, capture basically. But I think what's going to be interesting about that is I just like how they set it up, but they're pretty much on their own. Like, the kids don't have SM-33, but John Nodwood does, and it's going to be interesting. Of course, he's captured as well, but I can't imagine what they're going to do next, but I really like that. I really like how they made it clear where John Nodwood is going to do or what his plan is, but they focus on the children with this, on this particular episode. And there's really not a lot. I like the CGI effects and VFX effects to the giant space crab, on there, and I really like it. It didn't look too fake, but that was for a budget like that, a Disney Plus budget. That was pretty good. Like, I really liked the design to it, and it was fun to watch. So, if I had to give this, well, no, let me say that for later. But let's get in some topics. So, let's talk about John Nodwood. What happens next? So, what I'm thinking, this is not a theory. This is more of an idea of prediction. What I think is going to happen with him, I'm just predicting, is I believe that he's protecting the kids, but I think he's going to go back and find them, but I think he's going to have the people from Planet At and rescue them, because maybe why he sends like their parents or whoever may come pick them up, that he can escape and go somewhere else and get that treasure. But again, he doesn't know those kids escape that planet as well. So what I think, that's what I'm thinking. I think he's going to go find maybe their parents or find the right person to let the parents know and give the location. But I also believe he's going to steal whatever treasure or information that this planet is holding. Now, I think there will be a lot of battle scenes, a big battle between the droids and the officers of At-Atin against Brutus and his gang of pirates. But I think that John Nodwood's going to sneak out with the treasure or the right information that he's looking for this particular reason. So that's what I think with John Nodwood. Let's talk about KB. I think KB, what she did in this, I think it was very important to realize that I believe now that she has opened up, I think that I think they're going to show a more silly side of her where she has a little bit more of comedy with this particular character now that she has opened up. But I also think that they're going to use a lot of her ideas or suggestions now throughout this series. And we're going to see them learning how to trust each other. That I think they're going to realize that they can only trust each other as of now because they understand each other and they've been through a lot. So I think what's now is KB again is going to be more open up to, but I think we're going to see her lead the group more just because now they learning to trust each other. So I think what KB did in her story and her issues that were put on this episode was the key point of where they're kind of going with her and this series to me. Now, let's talk about Fern. What's interesting is I think Fern is going to be such a great leader in the Star Wars universe just because we're seeing her learn that sometimes her plans don't work, but when they don't work, she comes out with better ones and solves it or gets out of a sticky situation. And she doesn't give up. Even at the worst, like she wanted to give up, but she don't give up because she has realized like she has made some other friends between Wim and Neil. So now it's important for her, and she feels like this is all on her, but we're watching her become a great leader that I think that people will in the Star Wars universe be attractive to. And depending what side she chooses, I hope it's the good guy side, but it's Star Wars, you never know. But that's what I hope. Now, let's talk about the Jedis. I think when we get to episode 7, and I believe episode 8 is the last one, this is where I think people are going to realize that Jedis are real and they do exist within the Star Wars universe. And that's what I think is why they're always bringing up the fact that a lot of people don't think the Jedis exist. They think it's a made-up story. But this is going to change everything. But I'm kind of curious just where it's at in the timeline order. You know, how does this connect to, like, Rey Skywalker, Luke Skywalker, Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, a.k.a. But I just wonder how that connects. And it's going to be really interesting. And I do hope they do. Because my theory, I'll bring up one of my theories, is I think, like, Palpatine or something, a dark Sith Lord, to me, is planned all this. And I think it has to do with I think there's something with cloning. I think at Atton's the place where they're learning how to clone. Because why do they need so many people to get a job as what their parents are doing? So I think, in theory, it has to do with clones. And Star Wars is known for cloning people, like Clone Wars, right? Stormtroopers. So I think there's something about that I think is going to be part of this series. But that's just me. Other than that, I love this. It wasn't the best, but I'd give it a 6. 1 out of 10, I'm giving it a 6. Just because, like, not a lot of action, not a lot of continuation to where the main story is going. But because they focus so much on this bond moment, the bonding moment between Wim and KB, which is great. I like that, but I think they could have shortened it and just went back to the action a little bit. To me, in my opinion, about that. But other than that, it's not bad. I loved it, and obviously, I can't wait for I can't wait for episode 7 because I think this episode was just to build up episode 7. So you'll be ready for episode 8, basically. I think episode 6 is going to build up to episode 7. And then episode 7 is going to be like the cliffhanger for episode 8, basically. That's how I think that's how they plan this out to me for this season, where they're at. So maybe episode 6 is the filler episode type thing. That's what I think. But other than that, it was good. I loved it. I'm still liking this series. This is probably one of the better Star Wars Disney Plus series. You know, and that's really tough to say. But I do like it. I'm loving it. But that's my review, y'all. Thank you so much for listening. Please, please, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Great Talk and Entertainment official channel. Subscribe. Hit that notification button so you can always be updated with all my latest content. Thank you guys, and peace